we're back, and we're moving into our final conversation for today. This is definitely something that is going to make your life a lot easier. Accessing home care or caregivers at home through the Belize Home Caregivers Association. We have the founder, Sasha Eiley, with us, and she's going to tell us more about the work she does. Good morning, Sasha.
Hey, morning, guys. Thank you for having me today. Are you hearing me good?
Yes, we're hearing you, we're seeing you. And my first question is, Sasha, you know, it's interesting that this association started around the time of the pandemic, but I could just imagine how much your services are needed at this time. Yeah. Let's talk about the decision to get the Caregiver Association going and what it's been like so far.
Since the last time we spoke in 2018, we've had to do a bit of transition to get the caregivers trained about COVID and COVID regulations and stuff like that. We had the help of PAHOFU, NCA, and the Ministry of Health.
Yeah. You started primarily with looking at care for elderly, if I recall right, but now it's expanded to so much more.
Oh yeah, now we have registered nurses working with us. We have Dr. Sloan working with us. We have physical therapists working with us, and we have COVID caregivers. Oh. Also, I forgot to mention that we now have special need nannies. These are nannies that help children in the classroom or at home.
Wow. They need to link with NCFC.
Yeah.
But you just to go back a little bit, you said something about COVID caregivers. Can you expand a little bit about what that means?
COVID caregivers are caregivers that care for persons that is not hospitalized, but they're home and probably elderly or persons who had care before that caught COVID. And let's say the person that was taking care of them are no longer able to because they fear contracting the disease or personal reasons. We have caregivers who would step in and take up the task.
So they would go in and take care of if the person needs to be helped with anything, whether that is to get up, to move, and so forth, regardless of the fact that they have COVID.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I just want to ask what that service looks like in terms of payment and how these people can, what are the requirements to be a COVID caregiver?
The requirements, it's the regular requirements. You need to be certified by either the Belize Red Cross or BTEC, or have some type of certification either from abroad or neighboring countries, or a retired nurse or registered nurse. To be a COVID caregiver, we have a guideline that you must follow. When the pandemic started, we came up with a COVID guideline, one that I wrote and created, and that's what the caregivers been going by for these past 2 years. When it comes to going in homes, we have a list of demands that the patient family would need to provide. That is the proper gear the caregiver would need to carry out the task.
Yeah.
With the utmost safety. And
so those are things like what? Gowns, gloves?
The PPT gears and gloves and the necessary requirement. It would be just as if you're in the COVID ward.
Yeah.
They would be dressed in the safety equipment and carrying out these regular caregiving tasks.
That is such a wonderful idea because for some of the elderly patients who do get infected, a lot of parents, a lot of people worry about leaving them alone, having to care on their own. Um, so you have the COVID care as one of the options. Can I ask you what's the biggest demand that you have right now from the public?
The biggest demand I have would be COVID caregivers.
Yeah, you probably can't keep
Yeah.
up with the demand.
No, the thing is, I only had two persons who signed up for the job, and so it was kind of difficult juggling those two person around. And eventually, they got real tired, and they said, "I can't do this anymore." But luckily, we have one male and two female caregivers who can travel countrywide who does the care. We also have Dr. Sloan who works with us. She does visits to COVID patients. And we also work with Pick and Span. They fumigate houses, and it takes about 2 hours to get back in the home. So it's really quick. It's one of the requirements. The home needs to be fumigated
Yeah.
to have the caregivers go back into the home. So we have kind of a complete package when it comes to COVID care at home.
Things like what I found interesting are things like changing dressings. I know a lot of times when people have an injury or they have a wound that needs to be changed regularly, they would go to a clinic or a hospital or a doctor to get it done. But you offer that as an at-home care.
Yes, we do. We do work with a registered nurse. She's been RN midwife RNM for over 31 years, sorry, going 32. And she is well known. She works, I would say, on a stipend because the job she does and the pay she collects, it's a huge difference. She do it for love. It's something she likes doing. She's actually my aunt. And
So she does it
whenever,
for family. That's what she does.
yeah, so we have a really good team. There's also Miss Nurse Kelsey that I work with.
Yeah.
She has her own nurse on the go. And whenever I need someone and my aunt is not readily available, because Kelsey works 24 hours, my aunt works when she has the time,
Yeah.
I would call Kelsey and she would get the job done.
So you have nurses, doctors, and trained personnel who offer the caregiving.
Yes, we do.
And you have now, I think, people can access the services across the country?
Yeah, it's actually countrywide. We have caregivers in every district. This is thanks to Red Cross and Beltrade, who I collaborate with and work with very closely. Also, Ishelpu. She's the one that actually is pushing to get caregivers trained in each district.
Nice.
Wow. And what other services do you offer besides the COVID care? So you said special need care?
Yeah, special need nanny service.
Special need nanny service.
Yeah, special need nanny service. My aunt, my other aunt,
It's a family business.
She's been working with nurses, well, for over 32 years. She's retired now, and she decided to assist me with this special needs journey. She's very, very qualified. She does assessment, and she takes the time to help children with autism who cannot be in the classroom. To do their work at home or tutoring, or we also have Miss Sandoval, who does in-class nanny, because most of the time children with autism are left out of the classroom because they would be what the teachers say distracting the class. So the nanny is there to make sure that they are doing the work and they're not being a distraction. So that really helps. I've been getting, before the pandemic, I was overwhelmed with the feedback the public gave. I had no idea that this need was so great. And we actually only had 5 trained special need nannies. The way that I did this cross training is I took my caregivers that took the caregivers course and the childcare course, and I merged them, and I had them working with the child's behavioral therapist, because each case is unique and different. So there's not one set way or one set thing you can do when it comes to the special needs. The spectrum is so large. So that's the reason we have them work with the child's behavioral therapist.
Yeah. And you know how much comfort it gives the parents knowing that they have had some sort of training to be able to help the children, because it's also one of those things that you could be very willing, but it really does require a special skill set to help them rather than to make things more challenging.
Yeah.
So such a wide number of services. I think I even saw cleaning services too.
Yes.
Oh, yes, we do cleaning services.
Yeah.
The reason why I decided to do this is because we do have over 150 certified caregivers, and when they're not working, I do try to find other jobs for them. The reason is because they're like 90% of them are single mothers, and I know this is something they're passionate about. They love helping, and it really gets me down when I know that they're sitting not doing anything. So I try to find them jobs. I ask if they would be interested in the babysitting job, because it's not that far apart from caregiving.
Yeah.
You do need to take CPR when you're taking both courses, so it kind of ties in.
Oh, that's good.
So what I do now is I ask if they would be open to nanny, regular babysitting jobs. And what I did was, I do have a lot of retired nurse and caregivers that are much older that kind of carry out home aid services. So I have them be nannies. What's that 57-year-old
And do
caregiver?
you know how a parent feels knowing that their nanny has CPR training?
Right.
That's a comfort that they have alone there
Yeah.
in case, just in case of anything, that they have that training.
But like, if you said that you have caregivers certified all over the country, right? How can we find you? How can we contact you? How can we get a nanny? How can we get a COVID caregiver?
You can contact me on my number. It's 630-0172 or 670-8378. I actually had to read that out loud.
Do you have any social media or websites?
Our website is down, but we do have a Facebook page, and it's
Okay.
very active. The response time is within a minute to an hour, and you can WhatsApp at any time. Both the numbers are my WhatsApp number. You can call, text, send an email to Belize Home Caregivers at gmail.com, and we will be able to assist you.
Fantastic. You know, I think when I think of all the people who perhaps have underlying conditions, who need to access healthcare for any reason, it's probably very scary for them to enter into clinics and hospitals right now. So your service is a great way to be able to assist them. How
Definitely.
affordable would you say it is?
I would say it's very affordable. The prices would range from $5 an hour to 20 an hour. It depends.
Uh-oh. Somebody's calling you.
Yeah.
So something like COVID care.
Not a number on the show.
They're gonna start to call you for
COVID
people
care.
right now.
Yeah.
But so before that happens again, I guess the COVID care is probably one of the more expensive ones.
Yeah, the COVID care is between $50 and $20 an hour. It all depends on the person's condition. You know, it depends on their mobility.
Yeah.
When caregivers are placing their price, it's based on mobility.
Okay.
So if I want to hire a COVID caregiver, is that an automatic COVID caregiver for the 10 days that I'm in quarantine?
Yes, we do. Well, now we have options. We have 1 male caregivers and 2 female caregivers. So we will provide you with the number, and you will be able to choose for yourself, because we do believe that it's who you are comfortable with, not who is available. So we do try to give you options, and hopefully after seeing this, the other caregivers would probably consider doing COVID care, because it's a much needed service.
I imagine that they would have to be fully vaccinated, and they would have to have their boosters.
Yes.
And also, okay.
But most importantly, trained.
Yes.
And I think that's a big comfort too. Sasha, so once again, people can contact you. What you do is that you have a network of people that you work with, and your network includes persons who are certified through the BTEC, through Red Cross, and some are actual nurses and doctors or retired nurses that are working with you.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So once again, that phone number
is 630-0172 and 670-8378. Please call me after the show.
I was just saying, they're coming in now. I know how it works. It happens all the time. Thank you so much, though. And we do hope that people who need this type of service will take advantage of it.
Thank you for having me, too.
All right.
All the best.
Bye.
Yes. Thank you, Sasha.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and take our final break. When we come back, we'll have our wrap-up. So stay tuned.